Hello, I'm Timothy Seaman, and I have 5 workshops coming up at the QuaranTUNE Fall Fest next week. And I wanted to mention what they are in case you're interested in looking into them. And I'll have information in the picture that may give some more as well, and a link to the site if you want to register or look there. I have 3 on the hammered dulcimer. One of them is called fill parts. If you're wondering as a novice or even wanting to expand as an advanced player, this is one of the things I've worked with all my life. And there are some simple, clear tricks that we will go over that you can draw on to come up with a fill part. And one example, I'll just mention a couple of them. One example is the name of the chord. If it's a D chord being played, then maybe you can play the note D and it will sound good, or something from the chord. So it's like we're doing Amazing Grace in D, like that. So do 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 do. Hear that? How I just put that note in there that wasn't in the melody. That's one example. That's a very simple one. That's something to think of. Another more complex one is take a piece of the melody in itself. So da 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 da. You hear that? And those are some examples. Another one of my workshops is about planning concerts. I do maybe 50 concerts a year, and I have to be thinking of what I'm going to do each time, and I have lots of ideas about what will make it doable for me and special for the audience. And there are simple things, there are complex things, lots of different elements. If you've never given a concert, you can do it if you consider some of these elements, even if you're real shy and nervous and all that. And if you're an advanced player, you might get some good ideas about how to shake things up a little in your concerts. One example is, we'll talk about solo, duet, trio, different styles of music, different kinds of audiences and settings, and how to work with confidence yourself. I'm speaking as a shy person. How do I get confidence in front of a crowd? And how do I set up a 15-minute set, a 30-minute, a 45, an hour, hour and a half, 2 45-minute sets with an intermission in between, and all these different things that are possible. How do you deal with that? What are some of the special things? And one thing that I go to, of course, is kinds of instruments. Another is different kinds of music, different, lots of shifts around this way and another, or just living in the moment for a while. There are lots, we'll mention a whole lot of this. I'm really looking forward to it. My third hammer dulcimer one is how you move makes it sing. And to make your music sing in a special way, you can analyze the way you're moving and how you get certain kinds of tones and so forth. And we'll go into a fair amount of detail on that. Like again, with Amazing Grace, you could just play it straight. Or you can kind of get there and really live in it. That was just one phrasing thing that I just tried on the spur of the moment. And some things can be spur of the moment, some things can be very, very planned. But how you use your body, and everybody's different this way. We'll just discuss all sorts of options there. I didn't mention, I think I ought to, on the fill parts one, I've been talking with fellow bowed psaltery players, and they're interested also in the fill parts. And so with Amazing Grace again, da 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 da. That type of, how are you going to have it answering during the open spaces again, da 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 da. Just think, we'll use the bowed psaltery a certain amount of the time in the fill parts one as well. two other instruments. One is the mountain dulcimer. I'll be doing a workshop on 18, somewhere around 18 Christmas tunes, all with a lead sheet with fret numbers for certain tunings. And I'm using two tunings for these. One is the DAC tuning, which I have on this dulcimer. So it's D, and it's one that sounds wonderful at Christmas with these aromatic old tunes. Here's Personnette Hodie briefly. And then the other tuning we'll have a number of tunes in is D, G, D, Don Petty's Smoky Mountain tuning. And I find this really nice for the brightness of the key of G and the fact that you can play on both the melody string and the bass, octaves apart, and you can go down below the beginning of the melody, because the melody starts on the 3rd fret, so you can go below it. So with that type of tune, this goes well. So it's like, here's Rock the Cradle, Joe. Which works really nicely on that. And, you know, you could do it on the bass string as well. And another one that's much slower and more ancient sounding would be Lo, How a Rose E'er Blooming. You can see I'm using only the drone approach, and that's what we'll be focusing on during this workshop. My 5th one is on penny whistle, 10 Celtic tricks you can use at any time you want. I prefer not to like study, get exactly a certain set of Celtic sounds into a piece, but rather to take it as it goes. So like with, say, Be Thou My Vision, we could start with a grace note slide. That's a combination of two of the tricks. Then I'm going to do another one, a slap in between notes rather than tonguing. I use several just right there, and we're going to take one at a time, seeing how they can be applied to some familiar tunes, and then you can just take it from there on your own. So I'm really looking forward, like we'll do a little bit of brighter tunes too, of course. And little tweaks that make it sound Celtic and sound special. So those are my 5. Fill parts, plan a concert, how you move makes it sing, mountain dulcimer Christmas tunes in DAC and DGD, and 10 Celtic tricks on the penny whistle. I'd love to see you there if you're interested. See you soon.